Hello, everybody. Today we are joined by Manish Anandani, Managing Director at Kenvue India, which is home to brands such as Aveeno, Listerine, Neutrogena, Stay Free, and more. With over 2 decades of experience, he's focused on shaping the company's next chapter in a rapidly evolving consumer health landscape, prioritizing purpose-led brands, trust, and accessibility. On that note, a very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Soumya. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to our conversation.
All right. So, Mr. Anandani, Kenvue emerged as a standalone consumer health company with a distinct vision in 23, as we all understand. Can you walk us through the journey of establishing its identity post spin-off, number one, and what this transformation really means for the India operations?
Sure. Before I talk about Kenvue's independent thing, let me just give you a little bit about Kenvue first, right? Because whenever I speak to a lot of people, I was in one of the external event yesterday.
Okay.
And when I said, hey, I'm Manish, I'm from Kenvue, half the people really said, excuse me, what is Kenvue? Right. So let me just start by giving a little bit about Kenvue before we get into the little more detail, right? So Kenvue is the world's largest pure play consumer health company by revenue. It's built on more than a century of heritage of our iconic brands, like what you mentioned, Aveeno, Johnson, Sorcel, Stay Free, Listerine, and Neutrogena, and Tylenol as well. And these are science-backed and recommended by healthcare professionals across the world, right? And that's why I like to call Kenvue as a company, because we are newish, right? We just got established. It's like a 135-year-old startup, right? Because it's like a startup company because we have been in the existence for about 2 years. But with our brands have been in existence for more than 135 years, right? So I call it like a 135-year-old startup.
Wonderful.
So that's a little bit of about Kenvue, what it is. Now, coming to your question on how have we emerged as a standalone company, right? So as you may or may not know, we were part of a larger ship called Johnson & Johnson, which was till May 2023. So we actually got listed on New York Exchange in May 2023. And as I just mentioned, after the listing, we are the world's largest pure play consumer health company by revenue. And we bring a new view of a care to the world, right? And we are driven by a purpose, which is basically realize the extraordinary power of everyday care, right?
Yes.
And that's because we believe that daily care routines and small moments of care have a profound and cumulative impact on overall well-being. And hence, as a company, we are part of a daily ritual and provide everyday care, right? With our world-class differentiated portfolio of iconic brands, products, which are rooted in science. And through this iconic trusted brands, we believe we put this power into the hands of approximately 1.2 billion people globally in their daily ritual and the moments that matters the most.
Right.
Now, coming to the question on about process of building a new independent company, Soumya, right? You know, what made our company's separation so monumental was not just the sheer size of our transformation, but also the tremendous legacy when we became Kenvue as a new company of consumer health brands, which are some are really 100-year-old heritage, right? When we lean into this historical strength, such as scientific rigor and quality standards, but at the same time, we had to redefine our identity and purpose, culture, and behavior, as well as operating model and infrastructure, right? So we really enhance our efficiency and effectiveness and strengthen the muscle we need to win today, tomorrow, and as a consumer, right? And that's what we focused on when we really separated or became a new independent company. So it was very crucial or critical for us to ensure that Kenvue truly embodied what we call the Kenvue way, right? Which is basically purpose, value, and behavior, which is united by our shared purpose and the company value.
Correct.
And when we actually did this transformation, what really it meant for India was really today as an independent company and the world's largest consumer health player by revenue, it enables us to strategically focus on consumer health industry with a focus on everyday care. And that's really the power which we have today in the standalone company.
All right. Could you also give me a sense of, since you mentioned the global purpose, which is extraordinary power of everyday care, how does this really translate into your India strategy, given the country's diverse consumer health needs? Is there a particular approach or a strategy that you tailor for the Indian? I'm sure you do, but can you give me a sense of how that pans internally?
Sure. See, from a headline point of view, right? If I were to summarize it, is like boldly grow our share in everyday care in India through strategic choices versus priority. And I'll break it down. What I mean by that is, first, let me talk about what the opportunity is in India is. Then I'll talk about what our strategy is, right? So the opportunity in India is obviously very big, right? I'm sure you heard it from many other people across industry. India is one of the fastest growing, largest economy, currently fourth, on a path to become third largest economy in years to come. Premiumization is becoming very, very critical in India. It's not just what's also is not changing their spending power, but also the spending priorities are changing, with consumer increasingly prioritizing self-care in their spending basket, right?
Correct, correct,
And share of discretionary spending household continues to increase from food to non-food, right? So that's really where we operate. And then other thing which is very important is that there is a vast self-care opportunity. APAC or Asia Pac accounts for 60% of the world's population, but only 9% of global health spending, right?
all right,
And that really basically means we have a big need for greater awareness and improved accessibility of self-care solution in Asia and particularly in India as well. And also from a growth opportunity point of view, Soumya, it's very interesting that India is the largest baby capital in the world, right? With about 25 million baby born every year, right? That's really one-fifth of the world's annual childbirth. And at the same time, there are many other opportunities like menstrual hygiene, for example. India is one of the highest menstruating population in the world, about 350 million plus, right? That's women and girls put together. That's very big. At the same time, the category penetration of sanitary pads is still in India is very low. Urban is about 70% and rural is about 40%, right? So that gives a big opportunity for the category to continue to grow in the coming years. And
correct.
the third piece is really hydration, right? India recorded a unprecedented heat wave recently, and UN forecast that next 5 years are going to be even hotter in terms of weather, right? And that's where our brands like Orsal play in. And skin and beauty continues to be a very, very fast growing market in India. So this is really the opportunity where we believe is very attractive for a company like ours, which we play in all these segments in any way, which I talked about.
I wanted to get a sense of your priority list, basically, your immediate and the long-term priorities to shape this consumer health market in India. How are you really positioning the brand? Since we understand there was a spun off 2 years back, how do you really position the new Kenvue in India today?
Yeah.
The
So I was
brand.
coming to that part
Yeah.
only from a Kenvue growth strategy, right? So first is we believe in choices rather than priority,
Mm,
right? What I mean by that is because when you actually prioritize, you end up doing everything together, right? But when you look at choice, we
mm,
really do some things, but more importantly, there are a few things we'll definitely not do, right? So our ambition is very simple, right? As we aim to become the undisputed leader in consumer health by boldly growing share in everyday care
okay.
and driving growth across three segments. So what we have done, Soumya, is we have done globally, we have identified 15 priority brands
Yeah.
and 8 global markets which will drive growth. And within that, in India, we have made choice for 4 priority brands out of the
Okay.
15,
All
right?
right.
Where we feel we have an opportunity to grow, scale, and address the unmet needs of consumer, right?
All right.
What are these brands, right? So Kenvue has 3 business segments: essential health, self-care, and skin health and beauty.
Mhm.
In essential health in India, we have prioritized Johnson's Baby and Stay Free as the priority brand, right?
All
Which
right.
basically helps us raise the standard of personal care across baby care and menstrual health, right?
All
We
right.
do operate in the other categories like oral care as well, right? For example, Listerine is our brand, but we want to drive the growth in essential health through Johnson's Baby and Stay Free.
All right.
Then the second is about self-care, where we have a local jewel called Orsal, or which is basically a electrolyte drink for diarrheal and non-diarrheal condition, right? And this is where we want to offer new ways in consumer to take the power of their health into their own hands with over-the-counter solution, right?
Yeah.
And the third is really the skin health and beauty, where we are focusing on Neutrogena, which is our priority brand, where we want to really bring the next generation science in partnership with skin experts to create high performance product for healthy skin.
All right.
This is by leveraging the power of superior science. This is which is recommended by experts, uh, insight-led innovation, and breakthrough brand building in seamless corners. We are really committed of accelerating profitable growth in realizing our dream of extraordinary power of everyday care for consumers every day.
All right. Okay, sir, taking cue from the same answer, you've broken down the strategic focus area of the company. How do each of these contribute to the brand's India growth story, number one? And if you could also give me a sense of the marketing budget that you've allocated across all these three segments, would that be possible for you?
Marketing
A
budgets
ballpark,
is
maybe a percentage will work for me.
yeah, normally, Soumya, we don't share the specific A to S ratios or advertising to sales ratio in externally, because that's something which we don't feel the requirement to share at this point in time. So I'll keep that aside, but I'll give you a little bit of more sense on how are we going to make it come to life.
All
What I
right.
just talked about was the strategy, right? What I can talk about is what are the long-term priorities and how are we going to bring it to life through this, right? If that's okay with you, right? That's what I'll talk about. And also, the way we are trying to do is we have three priorities, right? Very, very simple three priority,
Mhm.
right? Which is how do we reach more consumer and how do we continue to invest behind our iconic brands? And third is really foster a culture that rewards performance and impact, right? And these three priorities convert very easily for us because, for example, first is reach more consumer, right? We are really capturing many Indias. Today, we divide India into India 1, India 2, India 3, which is India 1 is affluent India, which we believe with various reports is going to double to 22 million households in next 3 years. India 2, which is income, there are about 40 million households will get added into the same period in India 2. So
Mhm.
we really want to focus on these two, India 1 and India 2, and definitely India 3 is the third part. But these are the two going to be the growth driver for us, right? And at the same time, consumer continues to seek premium product, which I talked about the India 1, right? When you double to 22 million household in next 3 years, but they contribute much larger percentage in terms of consumption or revenue contribution to our overall business. And third is really about digital savvy consumer, right? Which is accelerating the digital journey. There is Gen Z who are digital natives. They really tech forward discovery to purchase, immerse experience, convenience at their fingertips, right? And at the same time, they want personalization for themselves, right? So this is what we are focusing on as we go ahead. And our product portfolio is we have differentiate product portfolio across all these many Indias which I talked about, right? So premium brands like Neutrogena, Aveeno, Listerine, and Stay Free Premium really caters to the top end of the India 1. And India 2 and 3 is really the mid-premium portfolio of Stay Free and Johnson's Baby, which also caters to this portfolio. So we really have a nice portfolio all across the many Indias to ensure that we are able to offer solution to the unmet needs of the Indian consumer.
Sure.
And from a point of view of our focus, we are focusing on volume growth from a value growth, right?
All
To
right.
make sure that our brands continue to be strong, our penetration continues to grow high, and that also helps us to get ensure that we have a healthy P&L to invest back into building, continue to strengthen our brands, and that's our strategy we are following. But this strategy cannot come to life without the people, right? And hence, it's
Hmm.
very important that we foster a culture that rewards performance and impact, right? So we are, as a new independent company, we are committed to investing in our talent and creating a culture of care as we go ahead.
Okay. Understood, understood. So, as an extension of the same question, many of your brands, as we understand, they're engaging in purpose-driven campaigns, such as the Stay Freeze, hashtag It's Just a Period campaign. How do these efforts contribute to the long-term brand equity and social impact? Have you been able to measure really gauge the impact that these campaigns have brought in from, a macro perspective?
For if you look at for years, right, advertising has had a huge impact in influencing shaping consumer perception and choice, right? As the consumer are becoming more aware, conscious, they are increasing relating to brand which portray and mirror today's consumer who are diverse. And they are looking at brands which are inclusive and are purpose driven, right? And for us, really at Kenvue, purpose driven campaigns are not just marketing initiative, they are actually strategic investment in a long term brand equity and meaningful social change, right? And as you said about Stay Free, I'm very proud of the Stay Free campaign, right? This uh, periods traditionally has seen as a taboo in India, right? And if you go down to smaller towns, it's really become very big taboo. And it was being very limited to, it has been still, right? It is limited to women of household with male members asked to look away, creating a society where periods are not seen as a good thing to talk about. Rather, it's seen as a social stigma, right? So 4 years ago, we started a campaign called It's Just a Period, where we really talked about saying, how do we bring the period conversation amongst people who matter most to young girl, which is basically about her family, right? By encouraging father and sons to be part of it, right? Now, this is the campaign which we have extended, right? First, we got the conversation into the family, and now we are bringing the family members as we go ahead into every year. And this year we launched it last year, actually, 2024, we launched a campaign where Beta Stay Free Leana, right? Which is basically if a brother or a son also is part of this conversation, it'll be easier for the young girls to really manage the periods
Correct.
conversation at the family. And there is a Kantar study of about 30 categories, right? Where they say that the purpose as a contributor to a brand equity is 10 times more important in India in comparison to globally.
Okay.
This shows a larger societal purpose and even more critical to success of brands in India, right? And that's very important. And 77% of Indian consumers are prepared to invest time and money in companies that try to do good, right? So that's what we are seeing in our on our Stay Free campaign as well, right? And we have a far-reaching impact on our brand equity. Stay Free was featured in Kantar brand footprint in India in 2024 as top three brands which have made significant improvement in penetration. So I'm sure this just one is not the reason, but the overall end-to-end work on Stay Free, including purpose-led campaign, really has helped to be a top three brands which have made significant improvement in penetration, right? And also, it's very interesting, Soumya. This also goes beyond just Stay Free, right? For example, Orsal is our other brand, right? Which is a electrolyte drink for dehydration. We came out with a campaign called Silent Dehydration. This is a public awareness marketing campaign with partnership with HCPs and professional bodies to educate consumer on the importance of dehydration and role of fluid, so FEE, fluids, electrolyte, and energy. Most of the time, I'm sure it was actually with me as well till I actually understood this better. Whenever we are dehydrated, first of all, we think we are not dehydrated unless we are out in the open, which is not the case,
Correct.
because silent dehydration means you are dehydrated in many conditions where you not be aware. For example, when you have fever, you are actually dehydrated, but most of the people don't know. And the people who actually know about dehydration also, they think if I drink liquids or fluids, I'm fine, right? Which is basically the F part of it, not the FEE, which is fluids. But what about electrolytes? What about energy? So we are really working with the HCPs to make sure this silent dehydration is communicated to the consumer to make sure their health is not compromised, right? So we have a very strong equity amongst HCP through our brand of Orsal pharmacies, and consumer, because Orsal is the number one electrolyte drink in India.
Sir, can you also help me understand the kind of collaborations that Kenvue maintains with the healthcare professionals in India, and how do they really shape product development in public awareness campaigns?
Sure. So, before I'd say, I'll tell you one thing is that what we believe very strongly is that in a health industry, HCPs or healthcare professionals like derms, peds, or GPs and experts are the new influencers.
Hmm.
They are not just the people to go when you have a problem, but they are the new influencers. So keep that in mind when I speak to you about the rest of the things, right? So and Kenvue is that we stand at the interaction of healthcare and consumer goods very well. What I mean by that is, like, I like to call that we are a company which is in a unique position because we are like a, just imagine a body of a consumer health and a soul of a consumer company, right? So it's a mix of both, because we have consumer portfolio which is pure consumer, and we have a portfolio which is also pure HCPs, right? So we have a nice combination of both. So as a part of our model, which is heart of our business, we collaborate extensively with HCP or healthcare professional in two-pronged approach. First is we make the HCP understand our product based on science and claims better,
All
but at
right.
the same time we partner with HCPs, led professional bodies like API or IAP to advance real-world evidence, including scientific guidelines,
All right.
consensus report, and clinical studies more, right? So, and why we do this is because of the fact that external context, if you look at it, today consumer is becoming more discerning and they trust HCPs, which is derms, peds,
Yeah.
GPs, for their recommendation much more than ever before, right?
Correct.
Like for skin health, right? And urban consumers are consulting derms for everyday skin issues, right? Which
Correct.
was not the case earlier, right? Apart from specific conditions like eczema and other things, right? So what are we doing as a Kenvue is we are driving a lot of education, right? I just talked about the hydration or ourselves, right? We are talking about driving patient education on dehydration and FEE beyond the fluids and water, right? We are also advanced science around FE through scientific engagement for real world education. And also, for example, we have another very strong brand, Avino Baby, right? Which is predominantly for sensitive skin, right? The about 54% of babies born in India have some kind of a sensitive skin already, right? So what we are doing is we are working with HCPs, like patient education programs, where we are collaborating with HCP to highlight the role of oats based moisturizer to manage AD like condition in babies, right? And also we are doing scientific engagements, right? So Kenvue India has launched India's first ever standardized consensus recommendation endorsed by IAP
All
on the role of colloidal oat-based skincare in management of sensitive skin in children that aim to provide guidance to neurologists, peds, allergists, and also derms for managing sensitive skin condition in children.
right.
Right, this is the way we are really working with the HCP community very closely, to make sure that we are not only uh, providing the science to the HCP, but also working with them to build the future of care for the consumers and the patients, right?
All right. Okay, so I do have some understanding of your India operations now. Help me now understand what's next for Kenvue in India, really. Can you share your vision for strengthening its leadership over the next 3 to 5 years? What do you have in mind? What will be your key priority areas, basically?
Yeah. So, first of all, in line with our growth ambition of becoming undisputed leader in consumer health, and boldly grow our share in everyday care, right? So, what we are trying to do is we have very simple priorities, Soumya. We at Kenvue India, what we have done is we have basically called out three things which we are going to focus on, right?
Yep.
And those three things are based on the three segments which I talked about, right? Let me take you one by one on that. So, first is we want to make sure that we win the baby in the baby segment. We win the power of, sorry, let me rephrase. We are winning with the power of two baby care brands, which is Johnson's Baby and Avino Baby. right? So what we are doing is we are driving Johnson's Baby penetration in new stock household, newborns household, plus winning in premium moms with Avino Baby, in
Mm.
which is sensitive care skin. So
Mm.
with Johnson's Baby, which is our, let me start again, Soumya, so you can delete
No
it,
problem.
right? So I see this again, right? So our strategy is very simple. Enhancing share of care in baby care, fem care, hydration, and skin health, right? That's what we want to achieve.
Okay.
Now, let's start with baby care. Our strategy in baby care is winning with the power of two brands, which is Johnson's Baby and Aveeno Baby.
Mm.
So, with Johnson's Baby, our plan is drive Johnson's Baby's penetration in newborn household. And with Aveeno Baby, we are going to win with premium bonds.
All
What
right.
are we doing with Johnson's Baby, right? As a first brand which touches the baby skin, we are committed to our proposition, which is protect from day one, right? We are the is a pioneer in the category.
Mm.
Johnson's Baby at the forefront of innovation. No more tier formulation for us, and we basically test these formulation on babies, which are basically 100% baby safe ingredients, right? And we also engage with the mums through various platforms.
Mm.
And second is Aveeno Baby, right? This is designed for our baby sensitive skin with power of oats, right? As I just mentioned earlier, 54% of the total babies have sensitive skin, right? So just imagine 0 to 3 years, 25 million babies per year, which means 75 million babies. Almost 40 million babies could have a potential sensitive skin, right? So we really use sensitive skin calls for uh, special care, right? We provide parents with superior products. Not only that, but we also provide education initiatives to raise awareness on sensitive skin conditions, right?
Right.
Second is really about driving stay-free penetration through mid-premium and accelerate premium, right?
All
We're
right.
very passionate about women health, constantly exploring product innovation to provide comfortable protection to our consumer, right? With product offerings like in the premium segment, which is nights, stay free nights, as well as stay free advanced double XL plus, right? Which is the longest napkin in our portfolio. We really help the female manage their periods very comfortably. We
Sure.
also have in the premium segment tampons, right? Because that's the new segment which is growing. So we are making sure we provide these innovation and deepen our distribution to make the access available to all the women in urban and rural very easily, right?
Sure.
And that's why, as I said, Stay Free was featured in Kantar brand footprint in India in 2024 as the top three brands which have gained maximum penetration, right? And the third strategy is about self-care, right? So, which is about Orser, right? Which is, as I told you, it's a local jewel in our portfolio, which is we are really increasing our penetration in pharmacy model and consumer ecosystem, right? And Orsal is a range is scientifically formulated, doctor prescribed, ready to drink that addresses dehydration because of non-diarrheal and diarrheal illness or depletion, right? And that's based on our advanced hydration base. And our plan is to make sure we make every consumer or patient feel better faster through Orsa, right? Because we provide FEE solution or fluid electrolyte energy solution. So we have both the products in this, which is basically diarrheal product like WHO or ORS and non-diarrheal, which is also in the same brand piece. And we have various campaigns, which I talked about in the education space, right?
Sure.
And last but not the least is really about skin health and beauty, right? And that's where we have a priority brand, Neutrogena, which is derm recommended brand, which takes a scientific approach, which is science first approach to skincare. We have hydration, like award-winning Hydro Boost range is one of the brand's top-selling facial moisturizer, which jumpstarts the hydrochloric acid ingredient category globally. I think, we were the one of the first ones to introduce the HA or hydrochloric acid in India a few years back, right? We also have sun care, which is through Hydroboost Sun Care SPF 50, which delivers long lasting up to 12-hour hydration while protecting your skin from various UV interactions. And last but not the least is about aging in this portfolio of Neutrogena, which is in a study titled Aging and the India Phase, an analytical study of aging in the Asian Indian phase. Indian skin ages 10 years faster compared to other skin types, owing to external and internal factors like air pollution, environment, prolonged sun exposure. And this is where we lead globally in clinical studies around retinol, right? Which products like Neutrogena Visible Repair range, which is the innovation which was specifically formulated to visibly repair signs of skin aging in just 7 days, right? And that's what we are focusing on for our brand. So these are the strategies which we are bringing it to life in India, Soumya, to make sure our share of everyday care continues to grow.
Okay, that will be all for today, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time. I'm sure our viewers will have plenty of takeaways from this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Soumya.